Where does my satisfaction lie when it comes to how the Eagles really have to win? What's going to make me feel better about this team winning? How do they win? Does it make me think the Eagles will be back? But I think it comes down to these 4 weeks of what the season is going to look like going forward. And we're going to be talking about the injuries to both sides. Not only are the Browns a bad football team, but they are piling up with injuries going into this game on Sunday. We're going to be talking about Nick Sirianni and what really has to turn around come Sunday. So let's get straight into all the deuce.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
This video is sponsored by BetUS. It has been a rough road for the Philadelphia Eagles this season for all Eagle fans. Will the Eagles rise to the occasion or continue to play down to the competition? If I'm going all in, giving it my all for a Super Bowl, I'm going to bet $500 and get $7,000 back at the end of the year, and we still stay true to the team that we believe in. But will the problems continue? We will find out. Make sure to check out BetUS. Get a 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with promotion code YouTube150. I want to thank BetUS for sponsoring this live stream or video, and let's get back to the content. So there's a lot on the line for the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday for a lot of reasons, because really your next 4 weeks comes down to 4 beatable teams that you could possibly beat. But, will the Eagles play down to the competition, or are they going to, really turn this thing around? It's hard for me to say, not trying to be negative about it, but, it's usually in the recent years, Eagles coming off bye weeks, they haven't looked tremendously great. But at the same time, on top of a bye week, you really don't want to play worse at all either. But going through the injury report for the Philadelphia Eagles, it was pretty good. Everybody seems to be back, ready to go. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, even Johnny Wilson's back off the concussion protocol. Now, Nakobe Dean did have an ankle injury a couple days ago to a light practice a couple days ago, and now is at a full practice, which is great. So he will be back. Reed Blankenship had an illness. So you're relatively healthy. You're perfectly fine when it comes to the active roster. And on top of, you have Sidney Brown, the 21-day practice window, probably won't be active for this game, and he doesn't count towards the active roster when he is on the 21-day practice window. So it might be a couple weeks until they really activate him, get him acclimated to the, maybe it just comes down to terminology. He hasn't hit in full pads in a while. So you got to give that just a little bit more time. And, I don't think I think putting Sidney Brown in this defense will definitely be a big help later in the season for this defense. Now, the Nakobe Dean thing was interesting. The linebacker core is interesting to me because, you released Devin White, and, we were all kind of like, this is a bunch of BS because, we don't believe that Nakobe Dean beat out Devin White the entire offseason program. We all know this. But I think now you possibly could be an injury away from at linebacker, and I think the one guy that really needs to stay healthy this year is Zach Bond, because he is the best protege type linebacker, a big re-sign candidate for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward, because I think not only for this Fangio scheme he's really good, but I think in an aggressive scheme I think he'll be even better at linebacker, and I think that's something we have to monitor throughout the year. But I don't really feel really good about Ben Van Simmeren, just because he hasn't played any games. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. hasn't played a full game, been playing a lot of special teams, and that's really it. If you remember after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, or I think before that, I forgot when he put it out. It was on Instagram or X or something like that. He put out a picture of himself kind of sitting in front of his locker with a sad face emoji attached to it. Like, man, I really want my chance. How much pressure do you put on Jeremiah Trotter Jr.? I think he will get playing time this year. If Nakobe Dean still misses tackles, can't cover, and he just looks god-awful, I'm sorry. But like I said, you blame the players to a certain point, but this scheme is so passive, and you're literally you're letting receivers and tight ends and all these guys come off the line for free chunk yards. And I don't think Nakobe Dean is meant for a defense like this. So it's already enough that Fangio has played a lot of these players out of position and forcing players to kind of intact themselves to this scheme, that some guys have a big weakness to it, and I don't think that's really fair at all. It reminds me of Chip Kelly, that having value over the scheme over your players. Don't matter who's in there, that my scheme works, and that's all it matters to me. But we've seen even last game, when there's no adjustments, there's way too much cushion. Your defensive line is not intact, and your secondary is just going to get blown up, and that's just what happens. It becomes a big weakness. And linebacker core is obviously very important for the Eagles this year. So Jeremiah Trotter Jr. could be a blessing in disguise that might come in, when Nakobe Dean starts failing down the line, or maybe Nakobe Dean will play better. I have no idea. But with Devin White out of the building, you really can't have a couple injuries at that position. You can't be out 2 linebackers, or you really can't even be out 1 linebacker, especially Zach Bond, that really needs to stay healthy. And, but I think the bright side of things to linebackers, that since Devin White is not here, Trotter Jr. is waiting in the wings right now to get his shot, and could have a shot sooner than expected, going forward. So I think that's really interesting, going in 100% healthy. And then linebacker, I want Jeremiah Trotter Jr. to play this year. I don't want him sitting. I don't want him being the special teamer all year. I want him to get a shot. If Nakobe Dean is just not playing great, depending if they do the 5-man fronts and Nakobe Dean just can't handle in the coverage and just can't do anything, there is a bright side to this, and hopefully Trotter Jr. Could pan out for us. It's his rookie year. Like I said, can't put too much pressure or be mad if he doesn't play well, because he doesn't play at all, rarely. So we'll see what happens down the line. Now, with the Cleveland Browns is really interesting. Now, they have, as much as offensively, they're probably one of the most pressured teams, especially at quarterback. Deshaun Watson gets pressured a lot. One of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. And on top of everything else, they have a lot of injuries. So they're down running back Nick Chubb. They're down running back Nyheim Hines. They're down safety Grant Delpit, safety Ronnie Hickman. They're down tackle James Hudson III. They're down center Ethan Pokic. All out for Sunday's game. All those guys are out. They're missing 2 running backs, a safety, a tackle, a center. I mean, they got some crucial injuries going to this game on Sunday, on top of their offense really not playing well since the beginning of the season with Deshaun Watson and what they've really not been able to do. I mean, really, I go back to the Cowboys game when the Cowboys first faced Deshaun Watson, and it was, they put 6 sacks on them. You know what I mean? Washington put 7 or 8 sacks on the Browns as well. So I mean. This is a quarterback that's been hit a lot of times, but we've heard this story before. Okay, we all know that Baker Mayfield holds on to the ball a lot longer, but let me tell you, man, 2.2 seconds, giving that much cushion and letting him throw pretty much free check downs that gave them 7 to 9 yards unscathed, untouched. It bothers me. I don't even care what the analytics say, because the Eagles just don't make those adjustments. And last week was a total disaster for this defense going against Baker Mayfield. And when he had time to throw, we Eagles couldn't get pressure regardless, and maybe when coverage was good at times. So there is a lot of injuries there when it comes to the Browns. But realistically, for the Philadelphia Eagles, and it comes down to Nick Sirianni, where do I feel comfortable with this game with the Browns? What do they have to win by? Okay, for me to be like, man, I feel like they're back. This game probably won't matter that much to me, because it's not really a great team, okay? The next 4 weeks are very beatable. If the Eagles are playing out like how they should be playing offensively and defensively, I'm not expecting a perfect game on both sides, but I'm expecting common sense situational football and just some productivity that has to stay consistent every single game, and it's not, unfortunately. One game could look really good, the next game just what are we doing when it comes to substitutions, not giving Saquon Barkley the ball enough? And yes, you didn't have your top weapons last week, but man, you still threw over 30 times. You still had Saquon carry the ball 10 times and use Kenneth Gainwell mostly at the end of the second quarter and 2 minutes and in the second half. So there's really no excuse at all. So if the Eagles beat the Browns by 3, by 1, overtime, they can win by 30, by 40, by 50, by 100. It doesn't matter. I'll be like, great, I'm glad they get the win. This gives them more time to try to fix this, since, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni were talking during the bye week and trying to get on the same page. And let's see, it doesn't matter how much they talk. It doesn't matter how much they're trying to get along, because The wins are all that matters. The importance of these wins, just getting the W every week, is all that matters. They can talk as much as they want, but if they keep losing every week, then obviously there's still issues that the front office, the ownership is allowing, pushing the analytics, and things are just not getting done, and things are just not looking normal. This is one of the most just horribly coached teams I've ever seen in my life, which makes it even more crazy because of the amount of talent that they have, more than most teams in the NFL. Some of the worst teams in the league have just better play calling than the Eagles right now. And obviously affecting the quarterback, from the quarterback to the wide receivers to the tight ends, everything like that. So make things simple for Jalen Hurts. Short passing game, running the football, get the running backs in the receiving game, mesh concepts, crossers, hot routes. Use everything you possibly can. Make things simple. Check the ball down 5 times in a row if that's what the defense is giving you. Play to your strengths of what the defense is giving you. Don't get cute with the QB draws, and let things happen naturally if Jalen Hurts has to extend a play on his own and not make it a part of your offense, because the last thing we need is Jalen Hurts taking a lot of hits in these games. Okay, so this is really on Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and what, are these talks going to make this offense play a lot better? Defensively, I feel more comfortable going through the weeks. I feel with the defense, I feel like Fangio will make those adjustments. I feel more comfortable. It just sounds crazy because there's more talent on the offense, because the defense, I just feel like because you have Vic Fangio with full control over there by himself, with Nick not really being involved besides keeping this damn passive scheme in here the last few years, I think we'll make the adjustments, when they need to be. They didn't show up last game. I mean, the defense didn't even show up physically, mentally, you name it, and everything was a complete disaster. So like I said, I'm not going to be overly excited that they win this game. Sure, I'm going to be in the moment of watching the game, I'll be excited that they win. But it's not going to change my mind that they're on top. This is one of the worst teams. They should beat them. They should beat them by 2-3 touchdowns, maybe even more. Okay, hopefully the defense can get some turnovers. Hopefully we see some things. But like I said, I'm not going to overly be happy, get on my knees and be like, we're back. I'm not doing that. it's you know what I mean? The next 4 weeks really comes down to, I think, Nick either getting fired, which I already think he should anyway, but you know how I feel about that situation. To see if these conversations are really helping, and is Nick really going to take more of a step back this week? And for me, I don't feel like it's going to. The Eagles are going to could win this game ugly, and if they win ugly, it's you're not going to last this season. You're just not going to last. I think the Giants could beat this team if the Eagles don't get their crap together. The Bengals have played a little tiny bit better, so we'll see what happens with that. And there's a lot more going down the line with this team. So it really comes down to this game. If they purely dominate, then good. I'll feel a lot better going to face the Giants next week. And, hopefully Saquon Barkley has a big game next week too. But he needs to have a big game this week. The guy needs 25 carries. I'm not even kidding. If you don't do that, then I don't know what to tell you. Common sense is common sense. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about, obviously, Nick Sirianni. Do you think that we're going to play down to the competition, or do you think they're going to totally dominate the Cleveland Browns? Or are you just unsure? I don't know where this is going to go, but it's exciting to know where this is going to go. But I'm not really feeling good about this going into this game. Maybe if just feeling comfortable. And I totally agree, and I could definitely agree on some things with that. And, we'll see where it takes the turn. This is where it starts now. You had 2 weeks to get prepared to play this team. 2 weeks as for our coaching staff, at least, they've had 2 weeks to get this team ready, playbook-wise, game plan-wise, get them ready for the Cleveland Browns at home in front of your own fans, the Eagle fans. You will hear them if they are not happy in this game. And that's where I set everything on with this. So other than that, guys, let me know what you guys think. Make sure to check out BetUS. Get 150% deposit bonus on your first redeposit up to $2,000. YouTube promotion code, YouTube150. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you by game time. Enjoy. See you later. Peace out.